Paz en el barrio, hippies. Buenos dias. Good morning to you. If it's the weekend, thank a union. The word for today is impunity. Our cookie's gonna crumble. Question everyone's asking and inquiring minds want to know is Coke can Clarence Thomas above the law? Can old Curly on top flout his turpitude, his dishonesty, his contemptible corruption without any public consequence, with, as they might say, impunity? Well, we'll see. There appears to be at least one plausible avenue by which to attack his corrupt venal ass, as with Capone, through the taxes. The Thomases, asserting the privilege of their class and rank and position, apparently failed or neglected or disdained to report any income for her for 12 years from 1997 through 2009. Funny thing, this coincided with when he apparently was positioning himself as the foremost advocate of the corporate agenda on the court. And meanwhile, Caesar's wife was making big bucks as a high-dollar conservative rainmaker, lobbying and fundraising and policy wonking with the Cokes and the Karl Roves of the world on issues which might, no, really, yes, might come before the court. Imagine that. Called on it finally in 2010, Thomas grudgingly had filed amended returns, claiming he was all just a misunderstanding and he'd misinterpreted the instructions or something, and it was, oh, nothing here, folks, move right along. Okay, you might say, and it's a piss-poor, dumbass, shitheel excuse, but okay, you've seen him. He could be that fucking stupid. But as it's turned out, he's not stupid, or he's not just stupid. He's crooked, too. There are records, apparently, which show that the Clancy Thomas family accurately and correctly filled out the necessary information for his wife's employment in every year, in every position in which he is ever in government until 1997. Thereafter, for the next 12 years, the motherfucker flat out lied. Every year. Does make you go, don't it, hippies? Well, a progressive Congress critter got wind of it. I forget her name. It's in the story. Has blown the whistle. Chief Justice Roberts, not as the Chief Justice per se, but as the presiding officer of the government's Judicial Council, which is the top oversight board for the entire federal bench. And Credo, the phone folks with a social conscience, they're soliciting signatures from citizens to bolster that letter in complaints to Roberts, and maybe they can get something working. There's a website on the screen down below here someplace where you can sign up, and there's a link on the page. I'll leave one. The problem, of course, is that this path requires that Chief Justice Roberts take that information to the Department of Justice, and that the Department of Justice then do something with it in the way of an investigation or an indictment. For which eventuality, I judge the probability to be somewhere between nil and -20. Now, I'm not a lawyer, of course, I'm not a legal ethicist, but I do not see how, inconscious and legally, Roberts can decline to proceed with this evidence in front of him and still maintain even the most fragile, most tenuous ascription of legitimacy for himself and his court, and indeed for the whole federal judiciary. That's what's at stake here. At a minimum, Roberts should summarily order Thomas's recusal from all pending cases. And in all cases which he was granted cert, those cases should be revoked and should be required to resubmit. Indeed, I suspect you could make the case that any decision to which Coke Can Clancy's vote provided the determinative margin, or on which he wrote, say, the majority decision, should be immediately vacated, and the entire case from top to bottom, start to finish, re-argued. That's what kind of a toxic effect Clarence Thomas has had on the court. His every breath on the bench, the U.S. Supreme Court, does nothing but further contaminate what is already, and at least since December of 2000 anyway, a hellish morass of corporate mendacity and moral vacuity. Until further notice, old Curly's apparently above the law, but he's undoubtedly beneath contempt, and he's dragging the rest down with him. So go sign the letter, hippies, and we'll send it to him from the beach.